Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. For today's video, I'm doing something I've never done before yet for my channel. I am completing an all matte makeup look on our gorgeous model Daniela, and I'm also pulling a little inspiration from the 90s, so I think y'all are really gonna like this one. Furthermore, I've partnered up with Sephora for today's tutorial, so every single product I'm gonna be using, you can find in store at Sephora or at Sephora.com. So without further ado, if you wanna learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid exfoliant as the first step in today's skincare process, and I'm applying it on with a cotton pad. For those of you who have watched my skincare routine video, you know already how much I just adore this product. I can't get enough of it, and it wasn't until recently that Sephora started to carry it, which makes my life so much easier because I go through a lot of this. And because our model informed me beforehand that she does regularly use salicylic acid, I know her skin is used to it, which is why I felt comfortable using this on her today under her makeup. Next, for moisturizer, I'm using the Fenty Skin Hydra Vizor Moisturizer to further prep her skin before we proceed with makeup. And I'm applying this on with the same sponge I'll be using throughout today's application. This too is a nice skincare product. Yes, it's cruelty-free, it's gluten-free, it's vegan, it's non-comedogenic, but really I chose this to use today because it has that SPF of 30 in it. You've heard me say it before here, but hey, wear your sunscreen, regardless of how old you are, but especially if you're using chemical exfoliants, such as the salicylic acid we used prior. Once we have this well worked into the face and neck, it's time to move on to the makeup. For foundation today, I'm using the Kevyn Aucoin Foundation Balm in the shade Medium FB06, and I'm applying this on with a brush before I later use my sponge to further blend it in. In fact, the brush I'm using right now actually comes with the foundation when you purchase it, which I don't know, I thought that was a nice touch. This is the very first time I'm using this foundation, and I decided to go with this one today because it claims to be medium to full coverage with a matte finish. And I don't think I've ever used a cream foundation that had a matte finish, so I'm already intrigued by this. Now, I should have used one shade deeper with a slightly more golden undertone to it, but this is the closest shade I had that matched her skin tone in this foundation, so you'll see how I later use my contour product to balance everything out. So in case you're wondering how much of this foundation I used, I only swiped the brush in the foundation twice, so it is pretty pigmented, and a little goes a long way. As promised, once I have this applied on with the brush, I'm going in with a clean sponge to really press this foundation into the skin. Once we achieve that flawless finish, I'm heading over to the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Pearl to highlight and conceal areas such as the under eyes, chin, center of the forehead, and down the center of the nose. I'm going to leave this on for a few minutes while I apply the contour product, which is the same Born This Way concealer, but this time we're using the shade Butterscotch. I mean, I say contour, but really what I'm doing is adding warmth to the skin. This shade looks a little striking at first, but remember, I was saying earlier that I needed to add more of a golden undertone to the foundation. Well, this is how I'm doing it. And once we have this all blended out, it'll look really good. I get told a lot from those who are just starting to experiment with cream contouring and cream bronzing that they're having issues finding the right shade or formula for them, or there just aren't enough options for them. So I'm going to share my advice with y'all in case there's someone watching who's experiencing the same problem. So usually if and when brands come out with a cream contour and bronzer product, it's usually only in a handful of shades, nothing compared to the shade range we see in most foundations and concealers. So with that said, if you have a concealer that you absolutely love, it's your ride or die, the formula works for you, it performs well on your skin, then pick up that same concealer but in a deeper shade, maybe a few shades deeper. And even for highlighting, pick up the same concealer but in a few shades lighter. You see where I'm going with this? If you've watched my past tutorials, you'll see I'm always using concealers or foundations to do the contouring. So next time you're at Sephora, check out the other shades your favorite concealer comes in. Maybe pick up a few shades to play with, who knows? And if you're balling on a budget, I totally get it. Maybe wait to purchase these until that the Sephora Spring Savings event comes up. If you're not a part of that Beauty Insiders program, I'll throw a link down below so you can sign up so you can maximize your discounts. I think the event starts on April 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's right around the corner. Now listen, I'm very fortunate to be able to receive a lot of makeup and PR, but there are some things that I don't receive that I can't live without. So I wait for these kind of events to stock up on my must-haves. Although this last year, I haven't gone makeup shopping all that much, to be honest, which is understandable given that we've been in a lockdown. But I don't know about where you live, but here in LA, things are opening up again. People are out and about doing their things. Summer is right around the corner. And let me tell you something, I am not summer beach body ready. I worked out for the first time in months not long ago. And you wanna know what happened? 12 minutes into the session, I had to fake an asthma attack to get out of it. Only 12 minutes, 20 jumping jacks, and I don't know, 10 push-ups. How embarrassing. Forget summer 2021. At this rate, I won't even be able to be beach body ready for summer 2024. Like, what is this? Oh, how did I even get on this topic? I don't have very many friends, obviously. You guys are the only ones I talk to. Oh, Sephora, spring savings event, April 9th. Mark your calendars. Next, I'm using the Rare Beauty Melting Blush in the shade Nearly Berry and applying this onto the cheeks with a brush before I further blend it in with my fingers and a sponge. So let's talk about the color of this blush, and then we'll talk about the placement. This is one of those particular color of blushes that you wouldn't really even look twice at a makeup counter, only because when you first look at it and swatch it, it's so dark and rich with color that it can be a little intimidating to use as a blush. But honestly, when you use the smallest amount and take your time blending it in, it looks incredible, and incredible on all skin tones. I'm naturally super fair, and on days where I don't want to look like I have makeup on and I want to look like my cheeks are naturally flushed, this is my go-to blush right now. And I like this color for today's look because it's contributing to that 90s vibe. I feel like deeper berry tone blushes right along the cheekbone contour were kind of the trend then, whereas of now, I usually stick to baby pinks and corals, and I keep it closer to the apples of the cheeks. Okay, once we have this all blended in, I'm gonna set the makeup using the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and I'm applying this on with my powder puff. As always, I'm starting with the under eye area before I move on to setting the rest of the face. And as you can see, I'm not going in real heavy with this powder. I'm being pretty subtle with it for the time being, and I'll come back in a minute to bake the under eye area. But just to point out, this is the very first time we're using powders in today's look, which just goes to show you don't have to use only powder foundations and only powder bronzers and only powder blushes to get a matte look. You can still use creams and liquids. It's just about how you set it. So I'm going to continue on with this, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so we're just finishing up here with the powder, but before we do, I'm gonna add a little extra to the sides of the nose to bake that area, which will sharpen up the nose contour. Next, I'm using the new Huda Beauty BombBrows pencil to fill in Danielia's brows. I believe the shade I'm using is Rich Brown, I think, but I'll check to make sure, and I'll be sure to link it down below along with everything else I'm using today. But I first used this pencil in my last tutorial, and little by little, I've really been falling in love with it. I thought with it being such a thin pencil that it would easily break, but that hasn't been the case with my experience. As I said, it's super thin, so it creates brow-like hairs, and it's pigmented enough that it makes doing my brows really quite quick and easy. I mean, our model has great brows to begin with, but as you see, I'm just lightly taking this pencil back and forth to build up some depth and extend the brow a bit. Because I'm gonna be pretty settled today with the eyes, I decided to make the brows a little bolder. Once I fill in the other brow off camera, I'm taking our Benefit Clear Brow Gel to set and lock the brow hairs into place. Also, this just helps remove any debris we might have left on the brows from the foundation and the powders that we've used up until this point. So now let's work on the eyes. I'm using the shade Soft Serve from the One Size Visionary palette and placing this right on the upper lid and buffing it up and out. As I said a second ago, I'm keeping the eye look pretty settled today because I really want the focus of today's look to be on the complexion and the moody berry tones from the blush and the lip color that we later use. And plus, I feel like anyone can really rock this eye makeup. Here, I'm adding in the shades Booked and Brownie to add some depth and warmth to the outer corner and lower lash line. For my next tutorial, I'll warn you now, I really want to do something bold, like a graphic red eyeliner or a platinum silver eye with rhinestones or something. You know what I mean? If you guys have any ideas, let me know down below. I'm really wanting to step out my comfort zone. Okay, for more drama, I'm gonna add some eyeliner. I'm using this Marc Jacobs gel eyeliner pencil in the shade Earthquake and running this through the waterline. I almost went with a black eyeliner and created this whole wing and all, but I didn't think that was very 90s-esque, so I stopped here and just added a little mascara on top. The mascara I'm using today is the Legit Lashes mascara from Huda Beauty, and I'm using this to coat both the top and bottom lashes. I also chose not to add false lashes today. You know I love them, but sometimes I feel like less is more, you know? Danielia has such beautiful eyes to begin with that I feel like false lashes would just take away from that effortless look I'm going for. And she has great lashes too, so just a little top and bottom mascara does the trick. Do y'all see how a little mascara can make such a big difference? I'm really happy we chose not to add on falsies today. She literally looks like a doll. So beautiful. And because I love her beauty mark too, I'm gonna accent it with a tad bit of brown eyeshadow and then head back to our Laura Mercier setting powder to bake the jawline. I'm running this right under where we had placed the contour bronzer earlier, and by doing this, it'll sharpen that area once we wipe it off here in a minute. Next, for lips, I'm using this lip gloss from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is in the shade Sepia, or Sepia. I never know how to properly pronounce that word, but hey, don't judge me. This is why I'm a makeup artist and not an English teacher. I ended up choosing this color after swatching a few different shades because it's really similar in tone to the blush we used, and it's a simple kind of lip today. Usually you see me use a lip liner and then a lipstick and then a gloss, but nope, not today. We're keeping it simple and in uniform with a blush. Once we have that gloss applied, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe away the powder we let sit there for the last minute or so. And then lastly, I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter Ultra Matte Setting Spray to set the makeup and to lock it into place, which officially makes this the final step in my 90s inspired matte makeup look on our naturally beautiful model. There we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Painted by Spencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.